How can AI finally deliver on its promise to drive real productivity in business? With so many AI tools emerging, I think many are left wondering when these technologies will truly make a difference in their daily work. Well, today I'm diving into this question with Liya Spiegel. She's the Senior Director of Product at WalkMe. Now, Liya is at the forefront of innovation with the launch of WalkMeX, which, if you've not heard about, is the first AI copilot designed to guide users seamlessly across any web application and workflow. And in this episode today, we'll explore the challenges that businesses face when adopting AI and why many current tools fall short of their potential. And we'll also discuss how WalkMeX is pioneering a new category of AI that not only simplifies the user experience, but also boosts productivity in ways that we've not seen before. Before we welcome our guest onto the podcast today, though, delivering daily content to 140,000 of you wonderful monthly listeners across the globe is no small feat. I don't want to take all the credit here because it wouldn't be possible without the backing of our dedicated sponsors and partners. I also want to shine a light on the fact that legacy managed file transfer tools are dated and lack the security that today's remote workforce often demands. And companies that continue relying on that outdated technology often are in danger of putting their sensitive data at risk. So in the world of secure file transfers, Kiteworks stands alone with their FedRAMP moderate authorized since 2017. It is now known as the gold standard in MFT security. And with yearly audits and continuous monitoring, Kiteworks doesn't just meet standards, it sets them. For example, if you need CMMC compliance, Kiteworks fast-tracks your authorization, saving you both time and money. You can step into the future of secure managed file transfer with Kiteworks today by visiting kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to get started today. But now it's time to dive into today's fascinating conversation with my guest. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Neil. It's great to be here. I'm Liya Spiegel, Senior Director of Product at WalkMe, where I've had the privilege to help shape the digital adoption platform category for almost 9 years now. And for those who are unfamiliar, WalkMe is on a mission to bridge the gap between humans and tech. So over the last decade, we've been helping organizations adapt to the change brought on by technology. And now with our new offering, WalkMeX, we're addressing what is probably the biggest transformation of our lifetime. WalkMeX is a copilot that's designed to ensure that AI works for people and not the other way around. And it uses AI to democratize AI, which makes it easier for everyone in the organization to participate in the transformation.
Wow. I love the line you used there about it being a bridge between human and technology. I think that is so important and something we don't talk about enough. And as you said, WalkMeX is positioned as this unique AI copilot. And there's a lot of hype around AI at the moment. So I've got to ask, how does it differentiate itself from the myriad of AI tools that we're seeing out there on the market at the moment? And how do you believe it can overcome so many of these productivity hurdles that other AI solutions fail to address? Anything you can share around them?
Yeah, I think it's worth saying that generative AI truly is a mind-blowing technology, but there's this myth that it's easy to use. And the truth is that to use Gen AI effectively, you need to know where to go. You need to know how to prompt. And the outputs that you receive are only as good as the inputs that you provide. And this is fine for some users, but if you really want to scale the use of AI in an enterprise environment, you need to think about this differently. And when I look at what's available in the market today, I feel that there are two main areas where AI tools fall short. First, you've got your general purpose AI tools that are disconnected from the flow of work. So they require people to actively seek them, to stop what they're doing, switch context into another app, and then provide a lot of extensive input. And that's a really large usability issue. On the other hand, you've got your AI tools that are directly embedded within a specific app. The problem is that they're often limited to a single use case or a specific suite of software. And when you think about business workflows, they almost always span across multiple applications. So limiting AI to a specific use case or a specific software inherently restricts the impact of what it can do. And what's unique about WalkMeX is that it's built on over a decade of experience in the digital adoption space. At WalkMe, we've always focused on helping users navigate complex digital environments. So cross-application workflows are really where our technology thrives. And to get a little bit more technical, we like to say that the graphical user interface is the ultimate API. So over the past few years, we've been developing an AI technology that can understand what is happening on the screen within the graphical user interface of the software at a human level. And that means that we can integrate with the front end of any software. And it enables us to create a copilot that's omnipresent and can follow the user across any application throughout the entire workflow. So WalkMeX moves with you. It understands the context of what you're doing, and it offers help proactively without requiring prompts. And that brings me to how, in some ways, we're redefining what it means to be a copilot. Because when you think about copilots, the word for a copilot comes from aviation. Another word for it is first officer. But all of these copilots that we're seeing in the market, they're not first officers. Because what first officer on a plane do you have to prompt to tell you if the plane is about to crash? That's not a copilot, that's a chatbot. So where we want to go with AI is where AI is truly a companion. It doesn't just give you information, it helps you steer the plane, it helps you avoid the crash. Our copilot is designed to not just wait for you to ask the right questions, it proactively guides you. It gives you the information and actions that you need without having to ask for help. It's a push model rather than a pull model. It's like having a copilot that says, hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to take over the wheel here and save us all from a fiery death. That's a copilot. And that's what we're doing with WalkMeX.
Absolutely love that. And I think for many people listening around the world, there's so many people are feeling overwhelmed, especially with the rapid pace of technological change, with the influx of AI tools, for example. It can feel so difficult trying to keep up with that pace of change. So how does WalkMeX ensure that users can seamlessly integrate this AI copilot into their existing workflows without adding to their frustration? Because there is often a lot of frustration that comes with new tech solutions and learning curves, etc. Is that something you're quite conscious of as well?
I would say at a high level, WalkMeX has two modes. We have the on-demand and the always-on. On-demand is your traditional conversational interface. It's where people can go where they need help. And then the always-on mode, on the other hand, that means that WalkMeX can volunteer help without you having to ask. And the technology that I mentioned earlier, DeepUI, because it interacts directly with the UI, it enables us to understand user behavior and intent across different applications to really capture the nuances of what the user is trying to do. And then by pairing this technology with general purpose large language models, we created a copilot that has contextual awareness. It can engage with people in real time and offer relevant suggestions and actions. And hopefully that alleviates some of the load of all of this technology rather than adding to the friction. And I think maybe a couple of examples worth sharing just to kind of help illustrate. Imagine that you're a manager filling out a performance review for one of your employees. And as you write the review, WalkMeX raises its hand to say, hey, what you just wrote can actually be considered offensive in some cultures. Here's another way that you can save this that's going to be received better, and it'll help you have a more productive conversation. That's an example of WalkMeX being leveraged in an HR system for a performance management workflow. And then let's take another example. Let's say you're a sales rep. You're constantly moving between the company CRM, your email, your sales enablement tools. WalkMeX follows you throughout all of these apps, and it offers you context-aware suggestions. So if you just received an email from one of your prospects mentioning a competitor, WalkMeX can suggest pulling up a competitive battle card or navigate you to the relevant CRM entry. This ability to always be on and understand the context of what you're doing helps us volunteer the next best action. And it helps users stay focused and productive and makes sure that AI can really deliver on the promise across the entire organization, not just within a siloed task or department, but actually drive outcomes for the entire business.
And with your recent survey indicating that a significant portion of employees don't see the benefits of AI tools, I would imagine there are a few problems around that, a few challenges. So what are the critical factors that make WalkMeX a game changer in delivering tangible productivity improvements? We hear a lot of the sales pitches, and I think people have been burnt in the past by things that don't deliver. But what would you say makes you different, and how do you overcome that challenge when asking businesses to adopt the solution?
The survey that you mentioned revealed that while many employees are using AI, they're not fully reaping the benefits. 91% fail to use AI effectively on their first try, and only 15% feel that they're experts. And this is largely because traditional AI tools demand a lot from the user. You need to know how to prompt. You need to understand what AI can do, what it can't do. And you need to fit that into your daily routine. And this approach leaves a lot of people behind. And, I remember running a workshop with our sellers where they needed to create a commercial using AI. And I was paired with an AE, and I remember her sitting in front of one of these tools, really unsure of where to even start. And she turns to me and says, what should I do? So I took control and I started prompting something like, act as a professional commercial creative. And she goes, whoa, how do you know how to do that? And I think that was a really good learning moment for me, because it helped me realize that not everybody knows how to interact with AI in this way. And that's a big barrier to adoption. And I think to really transform work, you're going to have to focus on people, not just on technology. With WalkMeX, we're trying to change the game by flipping the script. So instead of asking users to adapt to AI, we're adapting AI capabilities to users. We're not just waiting for their input. We're understanding what they're trying to do and offering them the next best action without having them be an AI expert. So that makes AI more accessible, and it also allows the user to focus on their work instead of focusing on trying to figure out the tool.
And it's that making it more accessible that I think makes you guys stand out from the crowd on this. And for people listening that are outside of the tech space, AI copilots are a relatively new concept for many people. So how do you walk users through understanding and leveraging this technology? And what role does context play, would you say, in making AI more effective? Because people are just starting to play with this. They're dipping their toes in the water, but it's knowing, as you said earlier, how to not make the mistake of the wrong prompts and so many other mistakes that people can make. But how do you help them? How do you walk people through this?
I would say that some of the lessons we've learned from the digital adoption space is that the key to successful technology adoption isn't just about the technology itself. It's how it's used by people. So when SaaS became the norm, a lot of companies struggled with what we call the adoption gap. It's exactly that disconnect between what the technology could do if it's used correctly by experts 100% of the time and the value that it actually delivers. And I think in a lot of ways, what's happening now in the AI space is very similar to that. The tools are incredibly powerful, but in order to really help people make the most of them, we need to adapt them to the way that people are thinking, to the tools that people are already used to. And I think that's going to play a really, really major part in what happens in this space.
I agree with you there. And I think this, as we said a few moments ago, with many AI initiatives struggling to deliver on some of those big promises that they make in the sales pitch, what lessons have you learned at WalkMe that have maybe helped you influence the development and indeed the launch of WalkMeX? Any big lessons that you've learned or any challenges you've had to overcome there? Anything you can share around that?
Yeah, we've been trying to apply everything that we learned from what we call the digital adoption gap into the world of AI. So WalkMeX is designed to be intuitive and inclusive so people can use it without having to become experts. And it's this focus on people understanding the right context, providing the right support at the right time that ensures that technology can really deliver on its promise. And I would add that a big part of this inclusivity is the ability to be proactive. So instead of waiting for the user to raise their hand, how do you anticipate their needs? How do you volunteer assistance at the right moment? That's the always on mode that I mentioned earlier. Another piece that's really important to our customers is using AI responsibly. So data privacy and having a human in the loop, those are very, very important to us. We intentionally built WalkMeX with a strong commitment to responsible AI to make sure that the data we process to deliver these experiences isn't being used to train any models. And we always let the user make the final decision about what happens next. I feel like this is important with any AI tool, but it's especially important in the enterprise space. And finally, we know that one size doesn't fit all when it comes to business workflows. Organizations have highly customized processes, and even the same CRM or HRM can look very different from one organization to the next. That's why we made WalkMeX very customizable. It allows each organization to tailor the AI assistants to fit the specific needs of their users and their way of operating.
And if we look at your grand vision and how you see things evolving in the near future, how do you envision the future of, let's say, productivity with AI tools like WalkMeX at the helm? What kind of impact do you think it will have on the way businesses operate and employees engage with their work? Any future vision you can share of how you see all that coming to shape and the kind of difference it will make if we, I don't know, examine what we were doing last year to 3 years from now? Do you see real big changes here?
This reminds me of an interview that David Bowie gave with the BBC in the late 90s, where he talks about the internet. And the interviewer says something to the extent of, well, it's just a tool. And Bowie says, no, it's an alien life form. I think AI is very similar. I think it's so new and so transformative, and it really has the power to change how we live our lives. And I know some people fear AI and think that it can replace them, but I think the opposite is true. I think AI will change the way that we think, the way that we ideate. It's not going to replace our abilities, it's going to amplify them. AI almost feels like an extension of the person who's using it. By taking away the mundane, the repetitive tasks, it has the potential to free us to focus on what really makes us unique, right? Our creativity, our problem solving, our judgment. And by augmenting our capabilities, it has the potential to create this space for human greatness. So back to the workplace, I know that was a lot. Tools like WalkMeX aren't just incremental improvements. They're fundamentally going to change how we work. They're going to evolve the workplace from a series of fragmented tasks into an experience that's cohesive and create space for human creativity and for innovation. And not only will this boost productivity, it'll also enhance job satisfaction because people can find new ways to engage with their work and express themselves and do meaningful work. And, I think one day we might look back at this and realize that AI was that alien life form that redefined the boundaries of human potential, kind of like the internet did in its early days.
Yeah, and I urge anyone listening to check out that David Bowie interview about the internet. He's so forward-thinking. He was just so on the money way, way back then. And back to our conversation today, though, I mean, with the increasing complexity of AI applications, how are you at WalkMe ensuring that WalkMeX remains intuitive, remains accessible to users of all skill levels, especially those that might be less tech savvy? And you can share around that. I mean, you shared a lot today about some of the great work you're doing in being that bridge, but anything else you're doing just to put people at ease or the less tech savvy at ease?
Yeah, at WalkMe, everything we do is driven ultimately by our mission to adapt technology to people and not the other way around. So we intentionally designed WalkMeX to be very user-centric. And because of our technology, which interacts directly with the graphical user interface rather than relying on APIs, we can make the interface itself smarter and more responsive to user needs. And this ensures that as we integrate more advanced technology, we never lose sight of the person who's using it. And I will add, something that I think is true of all products. Ultimately, the commitment to continuous improvement means that you're always iterating. So actively monitoring how users interact with technology, making adjustments to ensure that they're using features the way that they were designed to be used, or learning how they want to use these features so you can design them even better. I think this constant iteration is really, really critical to making sure that as you add more sophistication, you still remain a tool that's fairly easy to use.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing your insights. Before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to leave one final gift to everyone listening, and that is add a song to our Spotify playlist. I always ask my guests to add a song to that playlist. It can be guilty pleasures are allowed by all means, but what would you like to leave and why? What are you going to add to that Spotify playlist?
I'm going to go ahead and add Tomorrow's Gone by Charlie Nagira. Charlie was a local underground legend here in Israel, and he sadly passed away a few years ago. And I'd like to dedicate this song to all of the hostages that are still held captive in Gaza and their families. It's been over 330 days, and we can't wait to have them back home.
Beautiful answer. I will get that added straight to our Spotify playlist. I'm not familiar with the song, so I'm going to be checking that out myself. And for anyone listening wanting to find out more information about WalkMe or contact you or your team, where would you like to point everyone listening?
You can learn more about WalkMe and WalkMeX in our website, walkme.com or walkme.com/AI. And then we also share some insights and updates on LinkedIn and Twitter, so you can follow us there. And feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect and hear more about what people think about these topics.
Awesome. Well, I'll add links to everything there. And also, I'll try and get a video or something and attach that to the blog post that I'll promote this, just to bring it to life so people can learn more about it. But just love chatting with you today about the future of productivity, how WalkMe is forging this new category of AI in business. And I'd love to follow your journey, see how things evolve even further, maybe get you back on next year. But more than anything, thanks for joining me today, Liya.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Now, as we've heard from Liya Spiegel today, I think the future of AI in business isn't just about adding more tools to our arsenal. It's also about making these tools work smarter for us. And WalkMeX is leading the way in this new era of digital adoption, where AI pilots can truly enhance productivity by providing contextual, proactive guidance across any application. And my key takeaway here is the power of AI lies not in its complexity, but in its ability to simplify and streamline our work. But what will it take for businesses to fully embrace this new wave of AI? And how can they ensure that their teams are not only keeping up, but thriving? These are a few of the questions that WalkMe is answering with its latest innovations. And if you're looking, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything we discussed today and any challenges and opportunities that you've uncovered on your journey. Please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. But thanks for joining me today, and until next time, keep exploring the ways technology can empower your work and drive your success. Other than that, I'll be back in your earballs bright and early tomorrow morning with another guest. Bye for now.